Right now, as you're watching this video, there's a part of your mind that's actively working against your success. It's the voice that says you're not good enough right before a big opportunity. It's the impulse that makes you procrastinate on your dreams. It's the reason you're stuck in the same patterns year after year, wondering why you can't break through. Carl Jung, one of the most brilliant psychologists who ever lived, discovered that we all have an internal saboteur. And more importantly, he figured out exactly how to defeat it. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you Jung's revolutionary method for stopping self-sabotage forever. But first, you need to understand what's really happening in your unconscious mind. If you've ever wondered why you keep getting in your own way, you're not alone. Studies show that 92% of people engage in self-sabotaging behaviors. That's almost everyone watching this video right now. But here's what most people don't realize. Self-sabotage isn't a character flaw or a lack of willpower. According to Carl Jung, it's actually your unconscious mind trying to protect you from something it perceives as dangerous, even when that danger is actually your own success. Jung spent decades studying the human psyche, and he discovered that our minds are like icebergs. What we're conscious of are everyday thoughts and decisions. That's just the tip. But underneath the surface, there's this massive unconscious realm that's actually running the show most of the time. And here's the kicker. When your unconscious mind feels threatened by change or success, it will literally sabotage your conscious efforts to move forward. It doesn't matter how motivated you are or how many self-help books you've read. If your unconscious is working against you, you're fighting a battle you can't win. But Jung didn't just identify the problem. He gave us the solution. And that's what we're diving into today. Carl Jung introduced a concept called the shadow. And understanding this is absolutely crucial to overcoming self-sabotage. Your shadow isn't evil or bad. It's simply the parts of yourself that you've rejected, suppressed, or refused to acknowledge. Maybe as a child, you were told that being ambitious was selfish, so you pushed that ambition into your shadow. Maybe you learned that making mistakes was shameful, so perfectionism became your mask, while fear of failure lurked in the shadows. Here's what happens. Every time you try to move toward success, your shadow gets activated. It whispers things like, "Who do you think you are? You're going to fail anyway. You don't deserve this. People will judge you." Jung discovered that these aren't random thoughts. They're your shadow trying to keep you safe by keeping you small. But here's Jung's breakthrough insight. You can't defeat your shadow by fighting it or ignoring it. The only way to neutralize self-sabotage is through what he called shadow integration, basically, making friends with the parts of yourself you've been rejecting. Jung also talked about something called individuation, the process of becoming your whole, authentic self by integrating all parts of your personality, including the shadow aspects. Think of it this way. Instead of having an internal war between your conscious goals and your unconscious fears, you create internal alignment. When your whole psyche is working together instead of against itself, self-sabotage becomes impossible. The 4 steps to overcome self-sabotage. Jung's approach to overcoming self-sabotage comes down to 4 specific steps. I want you to actually do these as we go through them. Step 1. Shadow recognition. First, you need to identify your specific sabotage patterns. Jung believed that awareness is the first step to transformation. Right now, think about the last time you got in your own way. Maybe you didn't apply for that job, didn't start that business, or didn't have that difficult conversation. What was the story your mind told you? Write it down. Common shadow phrases include, "I'm not ready yet." "I need to learn more first." "What if I fail?" "I don't want to seem arrogant." These aren't logical thoughts. They're your shadow speaking. Jung said that once you can hear your shadow clearly, it loses half its power over you. Step 2. Understanding the protection. Next, Jung taught us to ask, what is my shadow trying to protect me from? Your self-sabotage isn't random. It's serving a purpose. Maybe it's protecting you from the risk of rejection, the responsibility that comes with success, the fear of outgrowing your current relationships, the terror of discovering you're not as capable as you hoped. Jung emphasized that you have to approach your shadow with curiosity, not judgment. Thank it for trying to keep you safe, even though its methods are outdated. Step 3. Conscious dialogue. This is Jung's most powerful technique, actually having a conversation with your shadow. I know this sounds weird, but Jung discovered that when you externalize your internal saboteur, you can negotiate with it instead of being controlled by it. Here's how. When you notice self-sabotage arising, pause and ask, what are you afraid will happen if I succeed? What would you need to feel safe if I moved forward? How can we work together instead of against each other? Jung found that most people's shadows just want to be heard and acknowledged. When you stop fighting your fears and start listening to them, they often reveal surprisingly practical wisdom. Step 4. Integrated action. Finally, Jung taught that real transformation happens through what he called conscious action, moving forward while honoring your shadow's concerns. This might mean taking smaller steps to honor your fear while still progressing, creating safety nets that address your shadow's specific worries, finding ways to succeed that align with your deeper values, building support systems that help you navigate the challenges your shadow is anticipating. The key is that you're not overriding your unconscious mind. You're creating a partnership with it. Real-world application and examples. Let me give you a real example of how this works. I once worked with someone who kept sabotaging their business every time it started growing. They'd get new clients, then suddenly become overwhelmed and start delivering poor work, losing those clients. When we explored their shadow, we discovered that as a child, they'd learned that successful people were selfish and abandoned their families. Their shadow was literally sabotaging their business to prevent them from becoming the kind of person they'd been taught to hate. Once they recognized this pattern and had a conscious dialogue with that fear, they were able to redefine success in a way that honored their values. They set boundaries that ensured business growth wouldn't compromise their relationships, and the self-sabotage completely stopped. Jung's approach works because it addresses the root cause, not just the symptoms. Here's another quick example. Procrastination. Most people think procrastination is about laziness, but Jung would say it's usually your shadow protecting you from the possibility of creating something imperfect. When you dialogue with that perfectionist shadow and find ways to make good enough feel safe, procrastination often disappears naturally. The beautiful thing about Jung's method is that it turns your biggest obstacle, your own unconscious resistance, into your greatest ally. Here's what I want you to do right now. Pick one area where you've been sabotaging yourself. Just one. Use Jung's 4 steps. Recognize the specific pattern. Understand what it's protecting you from. Have a conscious dialogue with that fear. Take integrated action that honors both your goals and your concerns. Jung believed that every person has the capacity for what he called wholeness, a state where all parts of your psyche work together toward your highest potential. Self-sabotage is just a sign that some part of you feels left out of the conversation. When you start including your shadow in your decision-making process instead of fighting against it, everything changes. You stop being your own worst enemy and become your own greatest advocate. If this video helped you understand your self-sabotage patterns differently, hit that like button and subscribe for more psychology-based strategies for personal transformation. And here's my question for you. What's one shadow belief that's been holding you back? Drop it in the comments below. Sometimes just naming it publicly is the first step to integrating it. Remember, you're not broken, you're not weak, and you're not lacking willpower. You're just experiencing the completely normal human phenomenon of internal conflict. And now you have Jung's roadmap for resolving it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.